As the chairman of the board for the Afghan American Chamber of Commerce and on behalf of our partners, CWI Summits, Afghanistan Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Afghan Builders Association, I would like to once again thank and welcome everyone for participating in our third Afghanistan Summit held in Dubai. This is a follow-up to the Summit on Construction and Supply Chain Management Summit held in June 2012, which focused on both challenges and opportunities available across Afghanistan, touching on all major sectors that offers business opportunities and substantial growth potential. In this time of transition, we at AACC are optimistic with a positive vision for the future of Afghanistan. We see the long-term future of Afghanistan as a regional hub connecting the countries of South and Central Asia, the role of the private sector becoming even more important, and the Afghan businesses engaging more and more towards the market economy. The ultimate success in Afghanistan depends on the success and growth of the private sector. And a sustainable private sector is not possible without a long-term regional role for Afghanistan.
In transport we trust, but can we trust in our uncertain world? In reconstruction of Afghanistan without transport? Afghanistan, transition in transit or transit in transition? Evaluate yourself. For many years, NATO supplied Afghanistan via Pakistan. In 2009, NATO decided to diversify alternative routes via southern, central, and northern directions.
Garda World is a company that's been operating in Afghanistan since 2004. We're going into our 9th year in the country now. We have 3 companies that operate inside Afghanistan. That is a Afghan private security company, an Afghan risk management company, and then we have a 3rd company that does Afghan First World Logistics. We have almost over 2,000 folks working for us in Afghanistan, and some 97% of those folks are Afghanis. And that is from management all the way down to the rank and file. 2014 is just the beginning, perhaps, of the second decade of international involvement with the country of Afghanistan. We, as a company, are certainly committed to staying in Afghanistan well past 2014. So, we hear these comments about perhaps fiscal cliffs in the United States. We're very hopeful that the audience is not thinking of 2014 as some type of cliff in Afghanistan. It certainly isn't. It's going to be opportunity for new presidential elections, and it's going to be opportunity to take the country forward. And so you have a company in Garda World that is going to be looking towards the long-term future of Afghanistan, not just for 2013 and 2014.
I want today to focus more on the good that has, is, and will happen in Afghanistan than the many challenges that Afghanistan has seen over the past many years, but especially the past 10 to 12 years. So the money and the effort and all of the contributions are making a difference in Afghanistan. Back in 2005, this is a statement made by the current president of Afghanistan, President Karzai. I would like to say that we are together measuring up to this statement that he made a number of years ago about the people and the future of Afghanistan. I want you to also know that basically everything I've said today, with the exception of a couple of personal comments, come from 2 reports that are mandated by the Congress of the United States on how we are progressing in Afghanistan. The report on progress toward security and stability in Afghanistan, the most recent report is December 2012, and the Special Inspector General of Afghanistan, or for Afghanistan, reports quarterly to the Congress of the United States. That report is published in the widely spoken languages of Afghanistan by law, by U.S. law, and all of these reports are on the web for you to review. I highly recommend that you review them. Some folks are concerned about the future of Afghanistan, whether we are staying or whether we are leaving. I think we will be drawing down in Afghanistan. There is no question about that. given the recent dialogue that President Karzai and President Obama had just a few days ago. But I also reflect back on a recent statement made by the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Leon Panetta. We have come too far. We have fought too many battles. We have spilled too much blood not to finish the job. I really believe that the job will be finished and the opportunities that you seek will grow exponentially. Thank you.
But the first task was to streamline customs processes. A lot of these efforts are being led by USAID, TAFA, and the Border Management Task Force in cooperation with the government of Afghanistan. And a lot of that focuses on automation of tasks, simplification of processes, reduction in the number of steps in the customs process, and trying to increase the doing business indicators for trading across borders. The second area really focuses on an initiative that President Karzai directed about a year ago in terms of working together across the ministries of Afghanistan to better coordinate those Afghan government operations. And the third talks about promotion of regional customs efforts and regional trade promotion efforts.
I'd like to point out that security is 90% of the problem and 10% of the solution. In other words, you can have all the security in the world, you still haven't done anything until you've started to get companies in there, the private sector in there, doing a lot of the development and work and so on. But as we've seen in Afghanistan, the security has really been a significant problem and continues to be a significant problem, certainly for the private sector. Just real quick, many of you have seen this slide, but this is just a quick description of what the industry is, the stability operations industry, and how I sort of categorize it. I think anybody who has a company here will see themselves in this chart. The first sector is logistics and support companies. These are companies that are brought in that do tasks that might be normal in other parts of the world, in more peaceful areas, but when you do this kind of operation, logistics, construction, aviation, when you do it in a high-risk environment, then you need a special kind of company that does that, and Afghanistan has many of those companies, which is great. The second category is the private security companies. These are companies that are brought in to provide security, or to protect, as we say, a noun, a person, a place, or a thing. So convoy security, site security, so on. I'll talk a bit more about what's going on with the private security companies in just a minute. The third category is the security sector reform and development companies. These are the ones that provide a long-term solution for a stability operation. Training up the army, training up the police, training up the border guards, training up judges and lawyers, basically providing the infrastructure that will hold the new state together, or the reform state. And finally, the industry support organizations, law firms, insurance firms. We've had some of them speak at this event already. Not necessarily operating in the field, but providing services that keep all the other companies operating. So that's just, in a nutshell, that's the larger industry and what it looks like. I think what we have going on in Afghanistan with the changes that are coming up, the way the private firms are treated today, will directly influence the future of private investment in Afghanistan, for better or worse. So it's important that we see that how the people are watching, the industry is watching, potential investors are watching Afghanistan now to see how the private sector is being treated, how the government is working with the private sector. Are we able to have a very effective partnership? And the better we do this now, the better the benefits will be in the long run.
Gentlemen, I'm here on behalf of the Asia Society 21 Afghan Young Leaders Initiative. My field of expertise is counter-narcotics, working with the United Nations as a regional program officer, but here as a young leaders, member of the Afghanistan Young Leaders Initiative. The presentation that I'm giving today is on narcotics, its linkages with insurgency, and how your business and investment in Afghanistan can help the elimination of the black business of narcotics and the insurgency. The narcotics business, the drug trade in Afghanistan is very complicated, and that is a cross-cutting issue. There are certain stages to fight the drugs. The anti-cultivation, the production, the trafficking, consuming, the demand reduction, certain areas are there. But I have written papers on the narcotics in Afghanistan, for example, the illicit drug situation in Afghanistan, the drug trains in Afghanistan, the illicit business and illicit drugs in Afghanistan. So I concluded that the focus should be on stopping the cultivation. And stopping of cultivation, I would say that one sector cannot do that. Investment and agribusiness can have a highly impact on stopping the opium cultivation, providing other opportunities to the farmers so that we can use the good and fruits and legal crops of Afghanistan. And I can also say that for the agribusiness, there are God-given opportunities to Afghanistan. That's the huge land, the water, and the climate. If you have gone to the north of Afghanistan, particularly in the area of Hairatan, the Amur River, if you cross the Amur River to the Central Asia, you would see a greenery area. All agriculture investment. The legal crops. But in the Afghanistan side, it's entirely desert. While we have Amur River there, but we are not getting any use of Amur River. It's a big question mark. We have all the way from Badakhshan, Takhar, Mazar to Jozjan and all those areas. Why shouldn't we invest on the agriculture in those areas? A long-term investment. The government to facilitate those opportunities.
2014 is a date. We will get there. First of all, I don't think there will be too many changes. But in any case, even if there are changes, there will be the right changes. And I think whatever is going to be done will be done responsibly. And no one and no government among our friends will behave in a manner that will be irresponsible, that will not take the conditions at the time into consideration. So therefore, I think when you think about investment, when you think about risks, as I said, one risk, in my judgment, is not as much as a lot of people think. But even if there is some risk, non-economic, non-financial risk, we are proposing a way out. What I read to you was basically one way of dealing with that risk. And secondly, you should also be certain that the government should be playing an important role in creating the environment for mitigating risk and an environment in which the private sector can function and function successfully. Because we have all, since the beginning of the new political structure in Afghanistan, we have accepted the fact that the market economy and the private sector is going to be the engine of growth, and that the private sector must be enabled to do its duty to the people and its duty, of course, to themselves also. So, thank you very much. And again, it's a pleasure to be here. And I would like to once again thank the organizers of this conference to make it possible for us to meet in this wonderful place. Thanks.